B2B Cambodia, the portal for business news in Cambodia.
I'm B2B Cambodia's Darshana. Thanks for watching. Today we'll be speaking with His Excellency Santo Darmosumarto, the Ambassador of Indonesia to Cambodia. Thank you so much for speaking with us today, Ambassador Santo. It's a great pleasure to have you here.
You're very welcome. Very happy to have you here.
So to start off, can you tell us briefly about the business and trade relations between Cambodia and Indonesia? And also, what are the key sectors that are in focus?
Sure. Of course, the major business dealings between Indonesia and Cambodia is in trade. We have some investments happening, some from Indonesia to Cambodia, and also have some Cambodian businesses who've invested in Indonesia as well. But trade is one of the focus that we are trying to do here at the Embassy of Indonesia here in Phnom Penh. And I'm very happy to see that last year we managed to hit more than $1 billion in trade, which at that time made us the 6th largest trading partner. This year, up until October 2024, we've reached $904 million, which hopefully, if we do well in the next 2 months or so, we'll be able to actually supersede last year's number. So trade is what we focus on, particularly on trying to introduce more Indonesian products to Cambodia. The products are quite varied. At the moment, Indonesia's main exports to Cambodia include coal, automobile parts, cigarettes, and food and beverage as well. So a lot of Cambodians now are seeing more and more Indonesian products hitting the supermarket shelves. And hopefully that would introduce the Cambodians to other types of Indonesian products that may be available to the Cambodians as well.
And in terms of the import products to Indonesia from Cambodia, what are some of the main things that you're seeing?
I'm very happy that last year, finally, after we signed an MOU more than a decade ago, finally Indonesia started importing rice from Cambodia. We had our first shipment of rice in the month of October 2023. And this year we've continued with more imports. But of course, our hope is that the numbers would continue to grow and that we get more than just rice. We could also see the possibility of importing other agricultural products from Cambodia as well, like cashew nuts probably, or pepper probably, or any other things as well. Yeah.
And you, of course, have only been here for 1 year now. You were just recently appointed as the ambassador in 2023.
Yes.
And now that it's been your 1 year anniversary, I believe it was in October.
Yeah.
How has it been here in Cambodia? What are your main reflections?
Well, first and foremost, I think I'm very, very delighted to be here. I visited Cambodia a while ago, about more than a decade ago, and then I came back in 2023 expecting something and getting actually far more than what I was expecting. Being here has been very enjoyable, particularly in trying to generate interactions between Indonesians and Cambodians. I think for a long time we have always looked at each other as brothers, sisters, as partners, but never really looked at ourselves as potential economic partners in that sense. So I think the door is wide open for interactions and businesses between Indonesia and Cambodia. And that's what we're trying to do here at the Embassy of Indonesia in Phnom Penh. And it's particularly interesting for me because I've arrived in Cambodia at a time when we are celebrating the 65th anniversary of our diplomatic relations. And with that, we're trying to push as many activities to be carried out between our two countries, particularly here in Cambodia, not only related to businesses, but predominantly related to businesses, but also in other fields as well, like, for example, education, people-to-people connections, and also military cooperation as well. So these are a lot of the things that I've been doing over this more than 13 months that I've been here in Cambodia.
So I also want to ask about the last time that we met, which was at the Sostai Indonesia exhibition.
What
would you say were some of your main takeaways from the exhibition, and what did you see about like the presence of the Indonesian businesses here? And there were a lot of SMEs as well who were expressing their interest.
Yeah, of course, so in total, we managed to have more than 100 booths. I think in total there were 109 booths. And a majority of them were businesses that were coming from Indonesia. We had a significant amount of importers, meaning Cambodian importers, who opened up their stalls there. But the majority of them were Indonesians trying out the Cambodian market or trying out the Cambodian consumers with their products, be they clothing, food, or accessories, furniture, and all that. The results of the trade show was around 2.3 million US dollars in potential as well as realized purchases. And in total, we had more than 4,000 visitors coming to that particular event, which is only 2 days.
Right.
And of course, there's always room for improvement. And so a lot of things that we learned about from this year's exhibition that we'll try to implement next year. The interest for Indonesian brands and Indonesian products is very big. So we, in addition to having consumers come into our exhibition, we also had a lot of importers, a lot of people who wanted to be distributors of Indonesian products. Then a lot of Indonesian companies who were here for the first time, who managed to actually gain some connections here as well. That hopefully, will set up some new ties and new bridges between Indonesia and Cambodia as well. That's the first thing. The second thing is that the interest in Indonesian food and beverage products is also very high. There's a desire to have a diversity of products. So this is something which is very good for us, because that means that Indonesia has an opportunity to take advantage of the Cambodian market.
So regarding that sort of like even the ties between small businesses here in Cambodia and in Indonesia, do you see that there is a bigger scope for that sort of collaboration as well? Not just only on that large level of like trade products and like big businesses, but even these small businesses. Because I think like Cambodia now, with Singapore, for example, they've established these partnerships for like cross-border payments to make it easier for small businesses. Do you see like a possibility for that happening with Indonesia?
One of the mandates of our missions abroad is try to promote Indonesian small, medium enterprises go international.
Right.
And we call it SMEs Go International. So we have that mandate by the Indonesian government to support these SMEs whenever they want to go abroad. A lot of them do need a lot of courage to go out and venture and try to sell their products abroad. With Cambodia, I think it's very suitable. Why? Because the Cambodian market is actually not that big. The problem with SMEs, particularly including in Indonesia, not particularly, but including in Indonesia, is that they are unable to produce massive. Because they cannot produce massive, therefore, if they want to penetrate markets like China, it becomes impossible, because the Chinese would say, well, you're not producing enough for our demand. But for Cambodia, I think the demand is very manageable for a lot of these SMEs. Right. So we're trying to create linkages between SMEs here and SMEs in Cambodia as well, so that maybe there are potential for partnerships between those that are here and the Indonesian companies coming in from various provinces in Indonesia. The big challenge for them remains logistics and also payment as well. But logistics is one of the biggest challenges, because that actually causes costs of the product to go up. Right. So Indonesia would have good products, and in actuality, the prices would be competitive when compared to, for example, Thai, Vietnamese, or Malaysian products. But because shipment from Indonesia is very expensive, then that pushes the cost or the price of the product slightly above compared to the others. Now, for some Cambodian consumers, they don't mind paying extra to get this diversity in their purchases. But for other consumers, a 5-cent difference probably is already a reason for them to choose another product compared to the Indonesian product.
Are there any other main big gaps that you see in the current state of the business trade relations between Cambodia and Indonesia? And also, just looking forward, what do you foresee as the main growth areas for the future?
One of the biggest challenges is knowledge of one another. I think Cambodians don't see Indonesia or Indonesia's potential the way it should be seen, and Indonesian businesses don't see the gains that can be made by the potentials in Cambodia. So I think there needs to be more interactions among businesses. So events like Susday, in addition to Indonesian businesses coming here to sell their products, is also an opportunity for them to come and see, have a look at Phnom Penh, have a look at cities like Sihanoukville, Siem Reap, Battambang, Poi Phet, and all these other big cities, Kampot and Kep, and see what are the opportunities, what are some of the things that may be of interest to the Cambodian consumers. And of course, in the future, some of the areas of cooperation that we might want to try to push as well is not only trade of certain products, but also industries like, for example, infrastructure, industries like new and renewable energy or circular economy. There are a lot of Indonesian infrastructure or construction companies that have developed projects in places like Africa or South Asia. And I think there's a potential for these companies to also be involved in projects that are happening here in Cambodia, whether it's a project that is financed through certain loans, certain grants, certain investments from the Cambodian government itself, So we'd like to see more Indonesian state-owned enterprises, particularly in the construction field, look at Cambodia and see whether or not they can participate in this area. Of course, anything related to new and renewable energy is very sexy, but that's the area that we need to look at if we want to look at the future of our economic cooperation as well.
What would be your main plea to businesses in Indonesia on what are the unique sort of characteristics of the Cambodian market? What would you like to highlight to them to show them that investing here or coming and bringing their business here would also be beneficial for them?
Yeah, I believe that the two countries should and could work together. Food security. And this is also an area where I would love Indonesian companies to have a look at the food, the agricultural potential here in Cambodia. Like I told you, last year we imported for the first time Cambodian rice, but there's a lot of things that can be developed here in Cambodia, and there's a lot of ways for Indonesian companies to come here to also work together with Cambodian companies to increase the productivity of Cambodia's agricultural output, not only in rice, but also in durian and coconut and coffee as well, and rubber. A lot of these things, these products that can be developed. So I think one of the things that in Indonesia, we are a country of 280 million people. We have so many mouths to feed. It would be naive for us to think that we could grow all the food needed by the entire population. We need to work with neighboring countries, particularly neighboring countries that always have a surplus in their agricultural production. And Cambodia is definitely one of those countries that continually has a surplus in rice production, surplus in cashew nut production, surplus in various other agriculture products production as well. So this is an area that I think where Indonesia could come in, potential for investments as well. I know that's my hope.
Well, to close off for my very last question,
Sure.
Could you share what your broad vision is for your time here as the ambassador of Indonesia and Cambodia, and what are the main goals that you would like to achieve during your tenure?
I wanted to convert the historical ties and historical linkages that we have into concrete economic cooperation. It's still a lot of work in progress, but I believe that this is the right path that we will need to pursue. At the same time, one of the other things that we need to do is to enhance the connections within the young people. Older people like me know Cambodia. Cambodians of my age know Indonesia because of Indonesia's involvement in the peace process here in Cambodia. But the younger generations, the ones who are born 2000 and above, who were born in the period of peace here in Cambodia, they are not fully aware of what Indonesia's potential is. And Indonesians born in the 2000 and above, they also don't know the potentials of Cambodia, because both youths, the Indonesian and the Cambodian youths, prefer to look at the West, Japan, China, Korea, and all these places. So I think there needs to be more interactions here. So this is one of the areas that I need to also push. Last year was the economic cooperation. Hopefully next year, I will try to push for more interactions among the youths. And I think it began yesterday when I visited the National University of Battambang and introduce Indonesia to 500 students of the university. So hopefully next year I'll be able to do that and try to once again bring the entire Indonesian and Cambodian population to see each other more often.
Thank you so much for your
Thank you
time
very
today.
much. Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
You've been with B2B Cambodia. Thanks for watching. Join us next time as we continue to bring you more news, updates, and developments from the business community in the Kingdom of Cambodia.